Hi, welcome to the KB Michelle Green podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things self help. Thank you for joining us today. Whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, or night, we thank you for listening. Please share. Let a friend know that you are listening to the KB Michelle Green podcast, where we talk about pretty much everything. And we want to invite you to make sure that you're subscribed to us on all social media sites and that you like and that you set your notifications so you don't miss out on the next KB Michelle Green podcast information. Thank you and enjoy. In today's podcast, I would like to talk about a continuation of our current series on credit. So, thinking about credit, we have the perception that we talked about in the last episode of just buying something instantly and being happy and overjoyed that we can receive it now. When it comes to credit, we have to think long term, which means that instead of us thinking about the instant gratification that we're going to receive right in this moment and enjoying the thing only for a few seconds or a few minutes or maybe a day or two, and then not really thinking about it that much later on, we have to reverse our mindsets to begin to prepare for what it is that we are receiving in preparation for it to be completely taken care of. So, how do we adopt a mindset of being prepared? Number one, we have to adopt a mindset of understanding what all will it take for us to actually pay off a debt. What kinds of concepts do we need to put into play in order for us to take care of a debt for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, and even 30 years or longer? When we are going to school to get an education, are we really thinking about what we are willing to make sacrifices in order for us to take care of our student loan debt? Many of us, when we start out with student loan debt, and the reason why I'm going to student loan first is because of the idea that once we grow up and we graduate from high school, we go on to college, and who's paying for this college bill? Before we even enter into the real world of working and earning an income and trying to figure out our businesses or whatever it is that we are purposed to do, we go to school, we further in education, whether it's a certification education in a associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, and even going on to master's and doctorate degrees. We have to think about how we're going to get education in a particular skill set, gift, or talent that we have. Maybe we are already talented, and most of us are born with like, not even most of us, every single one of us are born with a talent, a gift, or skill. And we have to refine that gift. We have to refine that talent. We have to refine that skill set. So, in order for it to get better, in order for us to be better at what it is that we are going to be doing to earn money, we have to think about what we're going to do to further our education. How can we gain more knowledge? How can we make ourselves better in order for us to gain more income? So, what is the value of us gaining an education? Is what we want to think about when we want to consider credit, not just in education, but also further in our lives to maybe find a shelter of our own, a place to live of our own. Maybe we are looking at possibly driving a vehicle of our own and something that, we want to be able to maintain our utilities, such as our food bill, our clothing and shoes and jewelry, accessories. We want to be able to look good. We want to be able to smell good. We want to be able to buy, our grooming products. If we have to wear glasses, if we have to, have an earpiece or a hairpiece, we have to think about those things that we are going to need long term. How long will it take for us to have to pay for the things that are grooming, the things that would take care of an education, the things that would take care of a vehicle long term? How long will it take for us to purchase a home or to be able to grow from being an employee to being an employer? How long will it take us, and what kinds of preparations do we have to take? What sacrifices do we have to make in order for that to take place? The reason why so many of us fail is not just because we look at things from our perspective, but from and not from the creditor's perspective, but we're looking at it from the upside down perspective of thinking that we can just have something in a moment and we don't have to think about it anymore. If we want to have a really good credit score, if we want to have a good financial portfolio, we must be prepared. When I say prepared, I'm thinking about the fact that once you get the education, you're learning, you're growing, and it definitely should be something that you are enjoying. It may be a little tough. It may be hard, but you don't want to just think about the education or the actual thing that you're receiving. You want to think about how you're going to finish taking care of that thing. How do you maintain it? What kinds of day-to-day things do you need to implement in order for you to take care of it? So let's take our education, for example. Our education, are you in work study? Are you rooming with a roommate? Are you deciding that instead of paying for room and board, that maybe you could stay at a family member's house and still go to school? Are you thinking about the repercussions of maxing the whole educational process out where they're paying for your tuition, they're paying for your room and board, so they're paying for you to eat, they're paying for you to sleep? Are you thinking about the things that you could reduce in this education process? Or maybe you have already done that, but have you thought about maybe you should get a part-time job? Or maybe you should have a full-time job. Maybe you should look into changing jobs so that you can get an increase in your pay so that you can be more prepared to start paying off the debt as you go to school. So those are things that we don't really consider because we don't think preparedness. We don't think long term when it comes to our credit. But what tends to happen is we get out of school after 4 years, after 6 years, after 8 years. We get out of school and there is a $200,000 debt that we have not considered because the only thing we wanted to focus on was our studies. We are adult people. When it comes to credit, we are adult people who have a credit score that is impacting our life. So, how can we change the whole outcome of our lives if we continue to ignore and only live for the moment? There is no guarantee that you're going to live from day to day. We know that. But what if you do live to be 120 years old? What type of preparations are you making so that your livelihood can be the best kind of life that you have ever had in your life? So let's think about the preparedness. How prepared are you when you take on a contract agreement that says that you are responsible to pay for this as long as you need this item? And even if you no longer need the item, if you need it now, then you still should have honor in your word to keep the contract agreement of what you needed in a moment that later on you're going to continue to fulfill the obligation. So make a sacrifice to work a second job. Make a sacrifice to work a business, to really get your business up off the ground and make the money that you're supposed to make in it. Make a conscious change of your mind to be prepared. Prepared for when it's time, before it's time to pay your rent. Make a preparation for before it's time to pay your mortgage. Make a preparation for months before to pay your vehicle note. So your car note, whatever it is, make preparations weeks and days and months before it's time to pay the credit card bill, the furniture bill, the cell phone bill, the insurance. Make preparations for what you know that you have signed your name to. I know this sounds like cliche, like you've heard it a million times before. But is it something that you're actually applying? There is a reason why you probably have heard this before. And maybe you never heard this before. But the truth of the matter is, credit will not change just by itself. You are the one that is steering the gears. You're steering the steering wheel. You are the dashboard of your credit. So every decision that you make every 24 hours, every hour, every minute, every second is a decision that can be made in preparation for what you have obligated yourself to. You shouldn't be mad about what you chose to purchase. You should be glad that you were able to receive that item when you needed it. And to fulfill your obligation simply means just be prepared to make the sacrifice until the sacrifice is over. God says to owe no man nothing but love. So let's be prepared and let's fulfill our obligations. And no matter what circumstance or situation we're in, we have to understand that with credit, the creditors don't care about what has happened to you in your life. This was your decision to come to the creditor to ask them for what they had in exchange for money. So, what can you sell? What can you sacrifice? What can you do to change your life, to stop making the excuse, to stop trying to get someone to feel sorry for you, to stop making it seem as though that there is nobody else on the face of this earth that has your particular situation, so that you can fulfill your obligations? It's time to change our lives. Our lives can never change if we don't decide to be prepared and see things all the way through to the end. So I hope that this helped you today. And for more information about how to fix your credit, how to manage your credit, how to build your credit, go to www.kingdombuilderscreditrepair.com. Sign up for our services and we will be glad to assist you. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed.